to my sister Pat, her husband Raymond, to all my nieces and nephews, my grandnieces and my grandnephews, all my many cousins, my entire family, to Teats church family, and also the officiating clergy. This is one of the hardest things for me to do, if not the hardest task for me to do. I'm sitting here at my daughter Dominique's kitchen table in Victoria, British Columbia, the westernmost province of Canada, more than 12,000 miles away from Cape Town, literally a half a world away. And how I wish that I could have been there with you to share this very sacred moment with you. And did we ever make every effort within our human power for me to travel to Cape Town, but due to a multiplicity of factors beyond our control, it just wasn't possible. But it's not only the thousands of miles of physical distance between us that makes the composition of this tribute a near impossibility. But let me be brutally honest with you. I'm deeply distraught, and I am beyond all the usual platitudes that roll so easily over the lips of many, many well-meaning people. Let me say it like it is. My tit is dead. And note, please note, I don't even use the pretty euphemism that she passed on or she passed away. No, 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 my tit is dead. Let me tell you, this is my Gethsemane moment. My Gethsemane moment. I feel like our Lord when he himself cried in great anguish to his Father that his soul was deeply grieved and his sorrow was so overwhelming that he wished that the bitter cup of suffering would be taken away from him. That's how I feel, just like our Lord in the Garden of Gethsemane. So amid my brokenheartedness, my tears that cannot stop flowing, I will share only one memory of my sister with you, but also due to the time constraints. Most of you know that Val and I were not only closest in age of our parents' 7 children, but we were closest in familial love. We were indeed a pair to behold. We were peas in a pod. We were connected in soul and spirit. She loved me as I loved her. And when I reflected on what to say in this tribute of mine, Stephen Webb's book, the title of the book is The Gifting God. The Gifting God. That book came to my mind. In this volume, Stephen Webb writes, and I want to quote, "In our consumerist culture, selfishness, self-centeredness, narcissism are at its heart." And he goes on to say that in this cultural mindset, true gifting, authentic gifting, is an almost impossibility. In this book, he begins with a basic premise that Jesus is God's gift to us, and therefore we ought to be God's gift to our fellow beings. Giving, he writes, should rise above a consumerist mentality. In a consumerist mentality, giving is always calculated. Giving has built into it an expectation of getting something in return. But according to Webb, and according to the Bible, and according to our Lord Jesus, giving is a kind of squandering. It's extravagant. Giving, in the biblical sense, is uncalculated. Giving, in the biblical sense, defies reasonableness and rationality. And you see, my tit, our sister Val, our Aunty Val, was that kind of giver. She never made accounting or bookkeeping calculations. I know of times, yes I do, I know of times when she gave thousands of rand to a pastoral couple of a previous church to which she belonged, and not expecting a penny in return. I know of the time that she gave her own car to her sister Pat and the family. Yes, when Pat needed a car, her family needed a car. I knew of the time. Whenever I came to visit Cape Town, on my many, many visits, she would lovingly, carefully prepare gourmet sandwiches for the garbage collectors. And she would say to me on many occasions when I wanted to raid her refrigerator and sneak some of the cold meat, she would say to me, Nee, uncle, sit I weg. Die polonies for die mannen. Then in her retirement years, when she was living from paycheck to paycheck, out of the meager means, our tit, my tit, she threw her own birthday party. I'd just marvel at her getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning, 3 days in succession. She would bake and cook and stir and clang the pots in the kitchen 3 days in a row, getting ready for her friends and family to come by. And she baked her marvelous cakes and a signature milk tart and prepare an unforgettable chutney chicken. Oh my goodness, that was my tit. Giver without consumerist calculations. But you see, in a consumerist mind, I've even heard it said by her own relatives, she's squandering her money. Instead of buying a sewing machine, she should stop making cakes. No. It was a generosity, a kindness, a magnanimity. That's what she left in me. In me. Not for me, but in me. Let me just end with Stephen Webb's book, which I quoted at the beginning of this too. I quote again. I'll give you 15, he says, I give you 50 minutes, 50 minutes of my time, but you stay off my back for the rest of the week, and do make sure that nothing bad happens to me. End of quote. You see, 50 minutes of my time, the rest of the week, you stay in my back. That is consumer mindset at its best. I'll go a mile with you, maybe, but don't even dare ask to go an extra mile. You see, the biblical way, according to Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, is carry one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. The Jesus way, the biblical way, is not you get off my back, but it is, alas, you get on my back, and I'll take a load off of you. I will lighten your load. That was my teach's way. When Marlin and Grandad Fred were scraping the bottom of their barrel, they could barely make ends meet. She stepped up to the plate and she told Ma and Granddad, you get on my back, and I'll be God's gift to you. When Pat didn't have a much-needed vehicle for a work and a ministry to children in need, she told Pat and the family, you, Pat, and you, Raymond and family, get on my back. I have room for you on my back. And she expected absolutely nothing in return. And when the nephew Brent was left destitute, without a father and a mother, she told that nephew, come on, Brent, I'll make room for you too on my back. Get on my back. She often, I tell you, buckled under, because she'd tell me, buckled under the load of the heartache and the responsibility that was brought upon her by this wayward boy. But Teet Val was God's gift to Brent. You, Brent, get on my back. And when I turned to Teet in my greatest hour of need, during my catastrophic loss of my darling wife Elvira in 1995, it was Teet who said, Uncle. She called me Uncle. Uncle, you get on my back. I'll carry you too. And my daughter Dominic, when she faced some serious legal challenges, I turned to my Teet, and in her characteristic way, she always kept confidences. She had the ability to never blab, and she, at that time, when I felt abandoned and destitute, and on the point of being crippled by the heavy burden that I carried during that time of Dominic's legal challenges. Yes, she said, I'll make room for you on my back. Teet and I both have known, as Charles Dickens puts it, we've known the best of times and we've known the worst of times. And the story of my Teet is summed up in that simple yet profound ditty that goes like this. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody where he's traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. My living shall not be in vain. Teet, Teet, your living was certainly not in vain.